Yes, my people. Nice to meet you again. As again, my name is Crispus Biika. So, as I introduced to you the earlier topic, which was about information literacy, and I told you I'm going to break the topics which are under information literacy, what you need to know about information literacy in two pieces, whereby you can understand the context of information literacy. So today I brought you a package whereby I'm going to talk about a topic called information sources. Information sources, I can take you through the slides so that you can go at the same pace and you see what really information sources is. So from information sources, we have what you are seeing here. Let's begin by information sources. As you're seeing it's there. From introduction, telling us information sources are any material, records, or documents that provide data or knowledge on a particular subject. These sources serve as the foundation for research, inquiry, and design making across all academic professionals and everyday contexts. So, as you're seeing, this is just basically materials that are used to record materials, any materials, records, or documents that provide data or knowledge on a particular subject. This is anything that you use to get the information that you want, whether using Google Scholars, whether using internet, whether you're using books, whether using dictionaries, whether using anything, Bibles. Those are all information sources. And further, they're telling us information sources can vary in type, from format and accessibility, and they can be classified in different ways depending on the nature of information they provide and how they are used. So that's how information sources are classified. One, they are classified in form, in the type, and in the format, and in the accessibility, and they can be classified depending on the nature of the information they provide. So it depends on the nature of information being provided by that source. That's how they classify it. So you must take that in mind. So we have known what information sources are. Even in the real world information sources, it can simply explain for us what they're talking about here. So that's what we are going to look at, information sources. So we can broaden it up. We can go to the next slide. This next slide is telling us what I'm going to take you through in my presentation about information sources. We are going to first look at the types of information sources. We are going to look at the characteristics of information sources. We are going to look at some of the examples of these information sources. We are going to look at also the importance and even the constraints, or what I can say as the disadvantages of these information sources. You know, everything has a good part and the bad part. So we are going to look at all these aspects in my next slides, or in whatever I'm going to take you through under this topic. So allow me to go to the next slide. We are going to begin by types of information sources. So as you're seeing, types of information sources, we have one already, which is primary information sources. Primary sources. So as you see, primary sources, this is one of the information sources. So it's the word even primo, you know what they mean, primo. The word primo means the beginning, like the beginning, or the footsteps, or the foundations of sources, of information sources. From the definition, they can also elaborate for us the true meaning of the sources. They're telling us is a direct of first-hand piece of evidence created at the first time of event, or by someone who directly experienced the event or phenomenon. It has not been we stop there, full stop. So, and if further say, it has not been altered or interpreted by others and stands as an unmediated piece of information. For example, documents. These are now examples of these sources. As I told us earlier, when I was told us is a direct or first hand. These are first hand informations. The basis, the lines, the first hand information you always receive from anything. Those are called primary sources. These are remember looking at the information sources. So we're looking at the types of information sources, and I'm telling you it's the primary sources. So I've told you here is a first-hand information you get from any source. So it's the source where you get the first-hand information. So it is created by the time of event, by someone who directly experienced the event or phenomenon. And the examples I've told you, for example, we have documents. Documents are first-hand informations where I can get first-hand information. We have creative works. Creative works here I mean anything made by anyone, maybe like I can say an artwork which was made by someone else, and anything that was created by someone else but it's an artwork. It's a work, a creative one. Those are also primary sources. We have oral histories. Oral histories, you can sit near your old grandparents or your old elders around you, and they tell you first hand information from the past that they experience. So that's also called a primary source. And then we have what we call the and interviews. While you are done interview, what you get, what is taught there by those people. In most cases, it's always a primary source. That's where you get the standing of or the beginning of a source of an information. That might be a person that kept long without talking it, but finally he has time to air it out in any interview that he is being held in. Then you have artifacts, scientific data. You know what I mean here? The laws, what were defined, the theories, which were stated by the scientists. All those are primary sources. They cannot be good from another person. Only that they can be good from that very person. Or now, like the scientific data, those were there, these laws were stated all long ago. So there's no way you can tamper with them and change them around. So it is a primary source on its own. Right? So now from primary sources, we are done with the definition. I hope by now you know what I mean by primary sources. Anything I'm talking about, you understand, right? Then you have the characteristics of primary sources, as you have seen: originality, that review, raw data, unmediated evidence, time related. I think these are self-explanatory. If you see the word originality, so this means these sources are the first these sources are the first to provide information about a particular event or subject. So these sources are always the basis. Any other information source above this is always it always gets information based on the primary sources. So first hand information is from primary sources. First to provide information about a particular event or subject. They are unaltered direct records that offer through original thought or raw data. These are self-explanatory words, these are English words, right? And we come to raw data. Also, it's a self-explanatory. I have told you this is raw. It is first-hand information. It means it must be raw. It's not processed. So primary sources often present raw, unfiltered information. For example, scientists' original lab notes might have data that could later be analyzed and interpreted in a secondary sources. You get that, right? Then we come to unmediated evidence. There is no interpretation of or analysis from other person. The source itself is the evidence. For example, this you take in oral histories. When you are seated around your elders, they be like telling you some pasts. So that story they're telling you, it's always having no evidence. They tell you about what they know by themselves, but they have not experienced it. I mean, they may have experienced it, but there's no one to prove them that what they're telling you is right. So that's what they're meaning, that is unmediated evidence. Time related, there's no close tied to the moment in which they are quoted. So that's what I mean about characteristics of primary sources. We come to importances, or the good part of it, or the advantages. Telling us the first offer direct access to offer direct access to the past or first-hand accounts. Get it right? Provide authenticity, original thought, and raw data. Facilitate new insights and original analysis. We come to constraints. Constraints here I mean the disadvantages or the bad part of it. Here I mean often require interpretation and contextual knowledge. For example, if they're telling you these old stories or any theory they're telling you, you always need to interpret it carefully, and contextual knowledge must apply when you're interpreting these informations. Then you have can be incomplete or biased. Yeah, if someone telling you something about something and they don't have the true story, or someone telling you is a finding or research or he or she has made, and in most cases it is incomplete, so it seems to be biased to the person who is being presented with the information, or whoever person has fallen onto that information, they become biased. since the story is incomplete, or whatever I wanted to find out is incomplete. So that becomes a negative part. Since it is the primary source, it is the first hand information you have got. And then lastly, you have might be difficult to analyze without background or expertise. You get that? That's self-explanatory also. So members, I'm going to stop here for this video. In my next video, I'll be explaining to you what the next type of information sources is. At first, you've looked at primary source. So in my next video, expect me taking you through the second type of information sources. I would like you watch my videos, you subscribe, share my links so that I get more and more. I'll be glad and grateful for your help. Thanks.